Her face bears scars from sword cuts, and yet for centuries, millions of people have knelt before this image and called her their queen. How is it possible that an ancient icon, rescued from fires, attacks, and wars, became the spiritual heart of an entire nation? The Black Madonna of Jasna Góra, Our Lady of Częstochowa, has defended Poland for centuries, comforted the afflicted, and led pilgrims to her son. We invite you to discover the story of this wondrous image, a story filled with faith, trials, and triumphs, and to learn why the Church venerates Our Lady of Częstochowa as Mother and Queen. Before we begin, tell us in the comments what city or country you're watching us from today. We're delighted to see how far devotion to Our Lady of Częstochowa reaches. And if you carry a special intention in your heart, a grace you are asking for, a family you are commending, or peace for your life, leave it in the comments as a prayer request as well. We will pray together, placing each intention at the feet of the Black Madonna. If this story strengthens your faith, stay with us until the end. Chapter 1. What do we celebrate on August 26? On August 26th, the Church in Poland celebrates the solemnity of Our Lady of Częstochowa, one of the most important and beloved Marian feasts. On this day, the faithful gather to honor the Mother of God under the form of the miraculous image from Jasna Góra, known throughout the world as the Black Madonna. It is a day of joy, thanksgiving, and filial trust in her, whom the Polish nation calls its mother and queen. Our Lady of Częstochowa is not a different Mary from the one we honor under many other names. She is the same one and only Mother of God, the Blessed Virgin Mary, venerated here through this revered image, before which God has bestowed many graces. For Poland and for the entire Church, this image has become a sign of Mary's presence and protection, a window through which we gaze upon her maternal face. In Poland, the solemnity of Our Lady of Częstochowa is among the most important Marian feasts of the year and is celebrated with great reverence. On this day, the sanctuary at Jasna Góra fills with crowds of pilgrims, while in churches throughout the country, the faithful gather to thank their mother and queen and entrust their concerns to her. It is a day when the entire nation, in a sense, unites at the feet of the Black Madonna. The name Częstochowa comes from the city of Częstochowa, where the shrine is located, yet to Poles the word sounds almost like a mother's name. To say Our Lady of Częstochowa is to say our Mother and Queen, she to whom the nation turned in every hour of its history. This one name sums up all the people's love for their lady. This holy image is kept in the monastery at Jasna Góra in the city of Częstochowa, Poland. For centuries, it has been the destination of countless pilgrimages. Every year, millions of people from Poland and around the world come to pray before the Black Madonna, entrust their worries to her, and give thanks for the graces they have received. Jasna Góra has become the spiritual heart of the Polish nation. Yet this image has something that sets it apart and touches the heart: Mary's dark face, from which the name Black Madonna comes, and the visible scars on her cheek, the marks of sword cuts left by an ancient attack. These wounds on the mother's face give the image a special meaning. She is a wounded mother who knows suffering and remains with her children through every trial. The story of this image is the story of an entire nation's faith. Woven around the Black Madonna are ancient devotional traditions, great events in history, and a title that sums it all up: Mary, Queen of Poland. Learning this history helps us understand why this image is so dearly loved and why it still speaks to our hearts today. To get to know Our Lady of Częstochowa well, let us begin with the image itself, this revered icon gazed upon by generations of the faithful. Let us take a closer look at the Black Madonna and what she represents, for the image itself already contains a message of faith. Chapter 2. The Image, the Black Madonna of Jasna Góra. The miraculous image from Jasna Góra is an icon, that is, a holy image painted in the style of the Christian East, intended not so much to be admired as a work of art, but for prayer and contemplation. An icon is not an ordinary painting. It is, as it were, a window through which the faithful gaze upon the sacred mystery being depicted and lift their hearts to God and to His Mother. The image portrays the Blessed Virgin Mary holding the child Jesus in her arms. Mary points with her hand to her Son, as if she wished to say to everyone who looks upon her, "Behold the way, behold the Saviour, I am leading you to Him." This is one of the oldest and most revered ways of depicting the Mother of God. Mary does not hold our gaze upon herself, but directs it toward Christ, the true goal of our journey. The child Jesus, for his part, raises his hand in a gesture of blessing and holds a book, a sign of divine wisdom and the gospel. In this way, the image silently proclaims the whole truth of the faith. Mary is the Mother of God, and her Son is the Savior and Teacher who blesses and brings the word of life to the world. Whoever looks upon this image with faith contemplates the mystery of the Incarnation. This way of depicting Mary, as the one who points the way to Christ, has borne in Christian tradition an ancient name meaning she who shows the way. Mary is indeed the one who leads us to her Son, the only way to the Father. In the gesture of her hand pointing to Jesus lies the whole role of the Mother of God in our lives, not to keep us with herself, but to lead us to Christ and to the gospel. The most distinctive feature of the image is the dark countenance of Mary and the child, from which the image received the name Black Madonna. This darkness has no particular doctrinal significance. It results from the age of the image, the paints used, and the passing of the centuries, and perhaps also from the smoke of candles and the fires that affected it. Yet the people lovingly called this image the Black Madonna, and it is under this name that they venerate Mary. Two parallel scars can be seen on Mary's right cheek, crossed by a third mark, the wounds we will discuss later, left by an ancient attack on the image. These scars have become part of the image and its message. They remind us that even the revered image of the Mother was desecrated, and that Mary, wounded in the face, remains the mother of a nation that has suffered so much. Over the centuries, a rich tradition has grown up around this holy image, reaching back, according to ancient accounts, to the very beginnings of Christianity. One of these accounts attributes the authorship of the icon to Saint Luke the Evangelist himself. Let us examine this tradition with respect and honesty, distinguishing pious tradition from what history tells us. Chapter 3. The Tradition of Saint Luke. A beautiful and very ancient tradition surrounds the origin of the miraculous image from Jasna Góra. According to it, the author of the icon was Saint Luke the Evangelist himself, who, as the tradition relates, painted the image of the Mother of God on a tabletop that had come from the home of the Holy Family in Nazareth. In this way, the image would be directly connected with Mary's life and with the earliest days of the Church. This pious tradition is beautiful and expresses a profound truth. The desire for the image of the Mother to be as close as possible to Mary herself and to the Gospel. St. Luke is the evangelist who told us the most about Mary, about the Annunciation, the Visitation, and the birth of the Lord, and so Christian devotion readily saw him also as the painter of her likeness. Many revered Marian icons were attributed to his hand. Yet for the sake of honesty, we must say what history has to tell us on this subject. Art historians believe that the image from Jasna Góra is an icon created according to the artistic patterns of the Christian East, probably several centuries before it arrived in Poland, and not a work by Saint Luke himself. The Church does not require us to believe the details of this account as an article of faith. It accepts them respectfully as a pious tradition. This distinction should neither sadden nor trouble us. Many beloved images and stories of the saints have come down to us, surrounded by traditions that express the people's love, even though not every detail can always be verified. What is important is not the exact date or the hand that painted the image, but the fact that through this image God has bestowed and continues to bestow many graces, while the faithful encounter in it Mary's motherly gaze. For the honor we pay to this image does not stop at the wood or the paints, but is directed toward Mary herself, whom the image represents, and through her toward God. The Church teaches that when we venerate holy images, we do not give them the honor due to God alone. Rather, through them, we honor the persons they represent. Whoever kneels before the Black Madonna does not worship the image, but the Mother of God, and through her, her Son. It is worth adding that similar traditions are associated with many venerable Marian images in both the East and the West, which popular devotion attributed to the hand of St. Luke. These traditions express not so much a precise historical fact as a deep conviction of faith, that the Church has venerated the face of the Mother of God from the earliest times and desired to preserve her image. The Black Madonna belongs to this venerable Marian tradition of the Church. Regardless then of who painted the icon or when, one thing is certain: it has become one of the holiest treasures of Poland and of the entire Church. And its history in Poland begins in a place that was to become the spiritual heart of the nation, on a hill called Jasna Góra. Let us discover how the image came there. Chapter 4. Jasna Góra, the Shrine of Poland. The miraculous image of the Mother of God arrived at Jasna Góra in the 14th century. According to tradition, Duke Władysław of Opole, who ruled these lands at the time, surrounded the image with special veneration and in 1382 placed it on a hill near Częstochowa called Jasna Góra, meaning bright or luminous hill. There he ordered a church and monastery to be built so that the image might be kept and venerated with due honor. The care of the holy image and the shrine was entrusted to monks, the Pauline Fathers, that is, the order of St. Paul the First Hermit. These humble monks, devoted to prayer and penance, became the guardians of the Black Madonna from that time onward. To this day, they watch over Jasna Góra, welcoming pilgrims and leading prayer before the miraculous image. Their faithful service has continued for more than 6 centuries. The Pauline Fathers made Jasna Góra a place of unceasing prayer. Day and night, hymns, prayers, and holy masses resounded before the miraculous image, while the faithful found here silence and peace in which to entrust their troubles to Mary. This faithful, hidden service of the monks was like the root from which the shrine's greatness grew, for the great works of God are always born of prayer and humility. As time passed, Jasna Góra became an increasingly important pilgrimage site. News of the graces received through the intercession of the Mother of God drew crowds of the faithful from all over Poland and from neighboring countries. The modest monastery was transformed into a great shrine, to which kings and ordinary people alike came to place themselves under Mary's protection. Thus, the spiritual heart of the nation was born. Yet Jasna Góra was not only a place of prayer. In time, it also became a fortress. The monastery was surrounded by walls and fortifications, which would prove providential in times of danger. For in Poland's turbulent history, the shrine would repeatedly face invasions and wars, and would more than once become a refuge and stronghold for the nation in its hour of trial. This union of shrine and fortress is deeply meaningful. Jasna Góra was at once a house of prayer and a place of defense, a sign that faith and homeland, altar and nation, were intertwined in the heart of Poland. Our Lady was to prove herself not only a consoler in prayer, but also a defender in the hour of danger. Thus, the hill called Jasna Góra truly became a place of light, the light of faith that radiated throughout Poland. What began as a handful of monks guarding a holy image grew into one of the spiritual hearts of Christianity, toward which the eyes and hearts of the entire nation turned in times of joy and suffering. But before Jasna Góra became a symbol of victory and freedom, the image of Our Lady was to suffer a desecration that left marks still visible on her face today. Let us learn the story of the Black Madonna's scars, the wounds that became part of her holiness. Chapter 5. Mary's Scars. In the 15th century, in 1430, an armed band associated with the Hussite movement attacked the Jasna Góra monastery in search of plunder. The attackers stormed the sanctuary, looted it, and seized the miraculous image of Our Lady itself, stripping it of its precious adornments and treating it with contempt. The holy image, venerated for generations, was desecrated by the hands of the invaders. Tradition tells us that when the criminals tried to carry the image away, the horses, or the wagon onto which they had loaded it, refused to move, as though some invisible power were preventing the blasphemous theft. Enraged, one of the attackers drew his sword and struck Mary's face, inflicting wounds that remained on the image. Thus, the scars still visible today on the cheek of the Black Madonna came to be. These sword cuts, inflicted upon the image of the Mother, are among its most moving features. Attempts were later made to paint over and repair them, but tradition holds that the wounds reappeared each time, as though Mary herself wished to preserve these signs upon her face. And so they remained, as a lasting memorial of that attack and as a powerful sign. These scars made the Black Madonna an even more beloved image. The faithful did not turn away from the wounded face of their mother. On the contrary, they loved her all the more, seeing in her a mother who suffered alongside them. The desecration intended to dishonor holiness was transformed into a sign of greater reverence and love, and what was meant to be a disgrace became a glory. In this way, the scars of the Black Madonna became a kind of seal of her special bond with a nation that had suffered so much. Looking upon the wounded face of the Mother, Poles saw someone who understood their wounds and remained with them. And although the enemy wanted to destroy the holy image, he achieved the opposite. He made it even more precious in the hearts of the faithful. For the scars on Mary's face speak to the hearts of the faithful. They remind us that the Mother of God, though raised to the glory of heaven, is not distant from suffering and insult, that she shares the pain of her nation and of all her children. The wounded Mother is close to all who are wounded. And a nation that has suffered so much throughout its history recognizes an echo of its own suffering in her wounds. The scars of the Black Madonna also recall the wounds of Christ himself, her Son, who rose from the dead while retaining the marks of his passion on his glorified body. Just as Christ bears the signs of the love that suffered for us, Mary bears on her face the signs of insults inflicted upon the faith. Both become signs of love's victory over hatred. This wounded yet undefeated mother was to prove a powerful defender in one of the darkest hours of Polish history. For when the nation stood on the brink of annihilation, everyone's eyes turned toward Jasna Góra, and there, around the miraculous image, one of the most famous episodes in Polish history unfolded, the siege of Jasna Góra. Let us learn about it. Chapter 6. The Siege of Jasna Góra, 1655. In the middle of the 17th century, a terrible deluge descended upon Poland, the invasion of the powerful Swedish army known to history as the Deluge. Enemy forces swept across the country, capturing city after city, and Poland seemed close to total defeat and disappearance from the map. In that hour of despair, the eyes of the nation turned toward Jasna Góra and the Mother of God. In 1655, a great Swedish army approached the Jasna Góra monastery to capture it. Within the walls was only a small band of defenders, about 70 monks, a few noblemen, and a small contingent of soldiers, altogether just a few hundred people, poorly armed and facing a numerous, superbly equipped besieging force. From a human perspective, the defense seemed hopeless. The defenders were led by the monastery's prior, Father Augustyn Kordecki, a man of faith and courage who sustained the morale of the besieged and placed his complete trust in the protection of the Blessed Virgin Mary. For nearly 40 days, this small band of defenders, strengthened by prayer and, so it was believed, protected by Mary herself, withstood the might of the invader, repelling successive assaults against all expectation. It is said that for safety, the miraculous image itself had been hidden in a secure place beforehand, while a faithful copy remained at the shrine. Yet the spiritual presence of the Blessed Virgin and trust in her protection were more real to the defenders than walls and cannons. It was not the strength of arms, but faith and prayer that sustained them through those difficult days. And then the unexpected happened. After a long and fruitless siege, the Swedish forces, discouraged and weakened, withdrew from the monastery without managing to capture it. The small fortress defended by Mary had withstood a mighty army. The nation saw this as a miracle and a sign of the Blessed Virgin's protection, and the event became the spark that rekindled hope and roused Poland to fight for freedom. The defense of Jasna Góra became a turning point. What had seemed to be the end of Poland was transformed into the beginning of its rebirth. Strengthened by the sign received through Mary's intercession, the nation rose and regained the power to repel the invader. The Black Madonna of Jasna Góra became forever the protectress and victorious lady, the one who saved the nation in its hour of trial. The nation's gratitude toward the Blessed Virgin, who had saved Poland, was to be expressed in a solemn act, one of the most important in the country's history, proclaiming Mary Queen of Poland. Let us explore this momentous occasion when the entire nation placed itself under the scepter of its mother. Chapter 7. Queen of Poland. In the year following the siege, in 1656, Poland's King John Casimir carried out a solemn and deeply meaningful act. In the cathedral in Lviv, before an image of the Blessed Virgin, he made a solemn vow by which he placed himself and the entire kingdom under the protection of the Blessed Virgin Mary and proclaimed her Queen of the Polish crown, Queen of Poland. In this way, the nation chose Mary as its lady and sovereign. This act, known as the Lviv vows, expressed the nation's gratitude to the Blessed Virgin, to whom the salvation of Poland was attributed, as well as its desire to live under her protection. The king not only gave thanks for the protection received, but also entrusted the future of the kingdom to Mary, and committed himself, together with the entire nation, to faithfulness to God and care for the poor and oppressed. It was an act of faith and dedication by the whole people. From that time onward, Mary has been venerated in Poland under the title Queen of Poland, and her image at Jasna Góra bears crowns upon her head as a sign of this royal dignity. The Black Madonna is no longer merely a venerated image, but the queen of an entire nation that has entrusted itself to her. This title has become one of the deepest features of Polish devotion and identity. It is worth remembering that Mary's queenship is not earthly rule based on strength or domination, but the reign of a mother. Mary reigns in order to intercede, guide, and protect her children, and above all to lead them to her Son, the true King. Her scepter is love, and her throne is a mother's heart, always open to the needs of the nation. In the centuries that followed, the Polish nation renewed this entrustment many times. In moments of danger and thanksgiving, Poles gathered to place themselves once again under the protection of their queen, renewing the vows made by King John Casimir. The title of Queen of Poland was therefore not a dead formula from the past, but a living entrustment, renewed from one generation to the next. Yet we must understand well what it means to call Mary Queen. It does not refer to a power that would take anything away from God, but to the dignity of a mother raised to glory and made the intercessor of her people. Mary reigns under the scepter of her Son, the one and only King, and devotes all her authority to the good of her children, leading them to Christ. Her reign is a service of love. Over the centuries, the title of Queen of Poland was renewed and affirmed many times. The image itself was solemnly crowned with papal crowns, and the nation repeatedly renewed its entrustment to the Mother of God, placing itself under her scepter in times of danger and thanksgiving. Mary, Queen of Poland, remained for generations the lady and mother of the nation. Thus Jasna Góra and the Black Madonna became something far greater than merely a shrine and an image. They became the spiritual heart of Poland, a sign of faith and freedom, and a stronghold of the nation through every trial in its history. Let us look at what Jasna Góra means to Poland and why it is its spiritual heart. Chapter 8. The spiritual heart of Poland. Over the centuries, Jasna Góra and the image of Our Lady of Częstochowa have become the spiritual heart of the Polish nation. There is perhaps no other place that unites Poles so deeply in faith and in love for the Mother of God. Throughout every period of its history, the nation came to this sanctuary, in moments of joy to give thanks, and in moments of suffering to seek comfort and strength. One of the most beautiful expressions of this devotion is the pilgrimage. Every year, millions of faithful, on foot, sometimes for many days and many miles, make their way from all over Poland toward Jasna Góra to stand before the Black Madonna. These pilgrimages, filled with prayer, song, and sacrifice, are in a sense an image of the entire Christian journey, pilgrimage toward God through the hardships of this life, at the side of the Mother. These walking pilgrimages, sometimes lasting many days, are one of the most distinctive and moving forms of Polish devotion. Young and old in heat and rain, they walk together toward Jasna Góra, singing and praying. Through the hardship of the road, in patience and mutual support, they learn what the whole of Christian life is, a persevering journey to God at the side of the Mother. Jasna Góra was also a stronghold of faith and freedom in the most difficult times. When Poland suffered partitions, wars, and oppression, when the nation was deprived of its freedom or persecuted, the image of Our Lady of Częstochowa remained a sign of hope and unity, a hearth of faith that no power could extinguish. Under the protection of the Queen of Poland, the nation preserved its faith and its identity. In the 20th century as well, in times of persecution and enslavement, the Black Madonna was a sign of spiritual resistance and hope for the Polish people. In the face of systems that sought to uproot the faith, the nation gathered around its mother and queen and found in her the strength to persevere. Jasna Góra became a fortress of the spirit that no violence could conquer. All this shows that devotion to Our Lady of Częstochowa is not merely a matter of private piety, but has been woven into the history of the entire nation. Mary, Queen of Poland, accompanied her people through all their trials, like a mother who never abandons her children, and the people repaid her with faithfulness and love from generation to generation. Among the countless devotees of the Black Madonna, one is especially beloved, the man who spread devotion to Our Lady of Częstochowa throughout the world, St. John Paul II, the Polish Pope. His love for Our Lady of Jasna Góra is one of the most beautiful pages in this history. Let us come to know it. Chapter 9. St. John Paul II and the Black Madonna. Among the great devotees of Our Lady of Częstochowa, St. John Paul II, the Pope from Poland, holds a particularly special place. From his youth, he had a fervent devotion to the Mother of God, and in the Black Madonna of Jasna Góra, he saw the mother and queen of his nation, as well as the mother of his own life. He turned to her at decisive moments, and entrusted himself and his ministry to her. His motto, Totus, tuus, totally yours, sums up his complete devotion to Mary. With these words, he expressed his total entrustment to the Mother of God, giving her without reserve his life, his ministry, and the whole Church. John Paul II taught that whoever gives himself to Mary does not move away from Christ, but is led precisely to him, because the Mother always leads to the Son. As Pope, John Paul II made repeated pilgrimages to Jasna Góra to pray before the miraculous image and entrust the Church and the world to the Mother of God. His pilgrimages to Częstochowa drew countless crowds of the faithful and were moments of great grace when the entire nation united in prayer at the feet of its Queen. Through his person and his witness, devotion to Our Lady of Częstochowa spread throughout the world. Many Christians in the most distant lands came to know and love the Black Madonna, thanks to the Pope who loved her so deeply. In this way, Our Lady of the Bright Mountain, Queen of Poland, became known and venerated far beyond the borders of her homeland. The election of Karol Wojtyła, a son of Polish soil, to the See of Peter, was a moment of immense joy for the entire nation, which many interpreted as the fruit of the intercession of Our Lady of Częstochowa. The Pope, for his part, never forgot his Mother of the Bright Mountain, but entrusted to her the most important matters of his pontificate, teaching the whole world the path of entrusting oneself to Mary. John Paul II saw Jasna Góra as a special place where, as he used to say, the heart of the nation always beat, and where Poles remained free even in times of oppression. There, at the feet of the Black Madonna, he himself drew strength, and there he entrusted the fate of the Church and the world. His witness shows that entrusting oneself to Mary does not weaken a person, but strengthens them and makes them capable of doing great things for God. The life and witness of John Paul II show how deeply devotion to Mary can shape an entire existence and an entire ministry. Whoever, like him, entrusts himself to the Mother of God finds in her strength, consolation, and sure guidance toward God. His example is also an invitation to us to give ourselves to Mary and make her the Mother and Lady of our lives. From this entire story, from the image, the scars, the siege, the title of Queen, and the multitude of devotees, come valuable lessons for us, people of today. Let us gather them before we conclude, so that the memory of Our Lady of Częstochowa may also become a light for our lives. Chapter 10. A Message for Today. The story of Our Lady of Częstochowa offers valuable lessons for our lives. The first is filial trust in Mary, our Mother and Queen. To have Mary as our Mother and Lady is an inexhaustible source of consolation. We know that in heaven we have a powerful Mother who intercedes for us, who loves us, and who never abandons those who call upon her. We can turn to her in every need, with the trust of children. It also teaches us that Mary is close to us in suffering. The scars on the face of the Black Madonna remind us that the Mother of God knows pain and insults, and that she shares in the sufferings of her children. Those who are wounded by life, injustice, or sorrow find in the wounded Mother one who understands and accompanies them. We are not alone in our sufferings. The Mother watches over us. These scars also remind us of Christ's own wounds, which he preserved on his glorified body as a sign of love. Suffering, accepted with love and united to the Lord's cross, is not defeat, but becomes a path to glory. The Black Madonna, wounded yet undefeated, teaches us to carry our wounds with trust, knowing that light follows night and resurrection follows the cross. May the story of the Black Madonna therefore strengthen our faith, renew our hope, and set our love ablaze. The same Mother who defended Poland and comforted generations also watches over us and our families. We can turn to her with complete trust, certain that she will hear us and lead us to her Son. She also teaches us to trust in God's protection in times of trial. Just as Jasna Góra, defended by a handful of people, withstood a mighty army, so we too, though weak, can trust that God and his Mother defend those who entrust themselves to them. The story of the Black Madonna proclaims that prayer and trust are more powerful than all human forces, and that with Mary, victory is certain for those who persevere in faith. Finally, it teaches us to love Mary as the way to Christ. The Black Madonna does not draw our gaze to herself, but points with her hand to her Son. Her entire reign and all her care have one purpose: to lead us to Jesus. To honor Our Lady of Częstochowa is to allow her to lead us to Christ, and to do whatever He tells us, as she did at Cana when she said, "Do whatever He tells you." Gospel of John 2:5. It is also worth remembering the words Christ Himself spoke from the cross to His beloved disciple, pointing to His mother, "Behold, your mother." Gospel of John 19:27. In these words, Jesus gave Mary to us as our mother. By venerating her as the Black Madonna, we accept this gift and acknowledge Mary as the mother who loves us and leads us to heaven. May Our Lady of Częstochowa, the Black Madonna and Queen of Poland, obtain for us filial trust, closeness in suffering, courage in trials, and a love that leads to Christ. May she also intercede for us, for our families, and for all who seek refuge in her. Let us entrust ourselves to her in confident prayer, laying our intentions at her feet. Chapter 11. Prayer to Our Lady of Częstochowa. Our Lady of Częstochowa, Black Madonna of Jasna Góra, Queen of Poland and Mother of all nations, who for centuries have defended your people and comforted the sorrowful. Obtain for me a childlike trust in your care and a heart devoted to you and your Son. You who bear the scars of insults upon your face, yet remain the undefeated mother, be close to all who suffer. Comfort the wounded, strengthen the weak, and teach us to carry our crosses with trust, united to the cross of your Son. You who saved your people in their hour of trial and were chosen as their queen, defend us in our struggles, watch over our families and our homes, and obtain peace for our hearts and for the whole world. You who point to Jesus with your hand, lead us to your Son. Teach us to do whatever He tells us and to follow Him faithfully to the end, so that living under your scepter we may one day behold God in the glory of heaven. Our Lady of Częstochowa, Queen of Poland, receive the intentions I entrust to you. State your petition here. Present them to your Son, Jesus Christ, and obtain for me, if it is God's will, the grace for which I pray, and above all, the grace of faithful love for God. Our Lady of Częstochowa, Black Madonna, pray for us and lead us to your Son, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Our Lady of Częstochowa, Queen of Poland, pray for us.